Welcome, Zealkin. I did not want to have this conversation, but here we are. We must now talk about AI. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, is it? Maybe it was a fanciful dream to think it would be. I had hoped the cost of maintenance and upkeep would have been enough for it to go away eventually. But I don't think any government would let such a trivial thing such as taxpayer dollars keep them from such a boon. I don't want anybody to assume that I'm talking about any specific government. I truly mean all governments. I would like to just focus, though, on the impact that AI is having on authorship and novels, story. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, so what do we do about it? The fact is we cannot rely on any company to accept making less money. As long as there is a potential for profit and bleeding society dry, corporations are going to cooperate. Let's take Amazon, for example. Their lackluster response to this AI situation is a publishing profile can only publish a limit of 10 books a day. If I were to put in enough effort through AI, that would still be 3,650 books a year. More than any human can write in their lifetime. But I could still pump out that in a year. In the world's largest retail store, which just so happened to begin as a bookstore. I don't know how many of you all know that or remember that, but that is how Amazon started. Amazon was a bookstore. Just books. Now the company can't be bothered to preserve the one creative force that got it started. Amazon is not going to help us. As long as these authors are making 6 figures on their platform for garbage. And they have no interest in change. Also, a boycott against Amazon is never going to work, not in this day and age. Not when we rely on them for so much as a society. I would like to clarify, I am not somebody who is completely against AI. I do see its utilitarian purpose. I don't like everything about it. Excuse me. I can see its value on an individual level. Even for writers. Research being a prime example. Makes research very fast. But ethical use or moral use, however they're calling it these days, is not what we're talking about. For those of you who would take a stand for all the mentally and physically impaired and the accessibility to them through AI, you are not here to have a conversation. You are not here to speak on their behalf. It's the same old story that we've seen in the last 20 years. It's the weaponization of empathy. You cannot get rid these same people would say you cannot get rid of abortion. What about the incest victims or the rape victims? I hate that we have to use such terms, and we know what we're talking about. I don't understand why we have to use terms to describe this. But the conversation is always disingenuous. It's not a fight for or against abortion, this what I'm doing right now, but a mimicry of the conversation. You could agree that you could concede that the seemingly reasonable stance you could concede that they're presenting a reasonable stance and give that ground. But that will never be enough. One could argue, I'm a bit mentally spicy too. Also, I hate having to say it that way, but that's what's enjoyed now, I guess. I believe all true writers to an extent are. All of us. But again, that's not a true argument. Someone needing a tool for assistance or a service for assistance based on, something like 2.5% of the situations to justify 100% of the situations. It's a disingenuous conversation. There's a woman right now. I don't know her name. I haven't looked her up. I don't want to waste my time more than I have to on this. She's pumped out 250 novels this year. And now she's teaching people how to do it on their own. There was an interview that she had where she started the prompt, I believe, at the beginning of the interview, and by the end of it, she had a full-fledged novel. Of course, she had to edit it to some degree, but that's still 250 books with prompts. We as a society cannot focus and have no standard of art. We charged millions for a banana on a canvas. That's something we can do on our own. Something that we can repair the zeitgeist as a whole with. Having some standards. They call it AI slop because it generally is. And we are consuming it like it's the best thing to have ever been put on paper. Like a banana on a canvas with a piece of duct tape. Sorry, I thought I heard something I might have to respond to. I thank the gods that we still read books to begin with. That in itself is a miracle. With all the the short form content that we consume right now, you would think that we would have given up novels entirely. So that there is at least something to hold on to. But it's making us dumber and less creative. I don't know if any of you know this, but you have to be bored to be creative. My writing skills came from being bored to death in high school and middle school. And now they have these short form phones and they're just scrolling through in the middle of class. So, of course they can't write a book. So the short answer is just throwing a prompt into AI. And I happen to notice a lot of this seems to be in the romance genre. Because, again, they're disingenuous. Let's look up what's most popular, what's making the most money. It's always romance novels. I can't remember the last time it wasn't romance novels. But they don't want to write romance novels. They don't want to create anything new. They don't want to put in the effort. So let's just put it in a prompt. But who can blame them? YouTube, Facebook, all these things are making us dumb and less creative. They are in their own way taking away the human spark. AI is just a byproduct of that. And unfortunately, I use the word slop, but it's becoming less sloppish. My favorite author, Mark Lawrence, recently did a experiment. He had an AI write a piece, and people, I believe, wrote about the same subject. Most readers could not tell the difference. I don't know what that means for us in the near future. Which brings me to a little bit of hope. The AI detection method isn't really cutting it. Plenty of writers are being accused of AI authoring just because of the way they write. The Declaration of Independence was also found to be written by AI. That technology is just not where it needs to be. Some organizations or companies are trying to push back. The methods are not perfect, but it's aiming the right direction. Specifically, the Authors Guild is now offering these certified authored stickers. You can get your book onto a list so people can look it up and verify. So not everybody can just put a sticker on it and get away with it. But they can verify it was written by a human. If nothing else, you, as an author, having to sign something that indicates to the readers, hey, I wrote this, and I promise you, if I used AI, it was in a moral and ethical way. Again, kind of whatever that means. I know that's still very ill-defined, but I believe they clarify it on their contract that you must sign. It does cost $10 per title to do, unless you have a membership. I believe the membership is an annual cost of $1 to $500 USD. Don't quote me on any of this, and look it up yourself. They did not pay me to say this. I just want to clarify. I am not sponsored by Authors Guild. And do I think this is the solution? Well, no. I want there to be something better, but I can appreciate their efforts. Also, I'm simply offering where credit is due. I hope we keep down this path where humans are actively seeking out human connections, human creations. I'm considering getting the Author Guild sticker myself, just to do something while this mess is still such a big issue. I believe the more people do it, or do something like this, the more likely we can seek out and end all solution to this. With that, relax your shoulders a little bit, especially myself. Try to rest well, Zealkin. The world is getting crazier each and every day. Not just with AI. We'll need our energy and our passions in the near future. And I'm not just talking about in the realm of creativity. Let me know what you think. What sort of world are we expecting when the human touch has been removed and a mix of Big Brother and Skynet start knocking at our doors?